Hi, friends. Sorry about the dodgy network. I think the internet gods are getting jealous of all the lovely women that I'm having a chance to have these guftagus with every weekday evening. And they're saying that, we want also to enjoy their marvelous company. We are here with the fourth episode in Status Single with Shree Season 3, a community chat show that I begun, which is no longer just been relegated to the community thanks to the love and support and following that it's garnered. Status Single with Shri was born out of a book, actually. I mean, I'm just talking about the journey. A book I wrote in 2018 profiling 3,500 urban single women that led to the birth of the community that I now lead and very proudly founded called Status Single. You can find us on Facebook, and you can write into me if you'd like to join, if you're an urban single woman. And every weekday, starting from the 7th of February, I've started this live chat show with a very, very fabulous lineup of women speakers, all of whom are single. And we're actually running a campaign in our community which says smash the stereotype. Because I'm personally sick of this heteronormative hard sell of platonic love or man woman love or couple love during Valentine's Day. I think single women have so much to celebrate, and there are so many dimensions which highlight the diversity of 74.1 million single women. As you know, we have the highest ever population of single women in India at present. Um, Dorma Wang, who's my guest this evening, is a woman who probably, needs no introduction, especially if, you happen to be in Kolkata. And the reason I will speak a little about her is because Doma is traveling and she's in Kurseong at the moment. And because she's undertaking this whole road trip, her Wi-Fi is in doldrums, It's been very kind of her to agree to come on the show. She's a chef, she's a restaurateur, she's a businesswoman and a tough single mother and a first generation entrepreneur. Everybody knows Blue Poppy in Calcutta, so I don't need to, take you through an elaborate introduction which cuts into my adda time with Doma. So Doma, welcome to Status Single with Shree.
Thank you, Shimai. So happy to be here to have time to talk with you and others who are listening to the show.
Absolutely. From the time I shared your creative, I was getting such wonderful messages. I've saved two of them just to read out to you. But most of the women were saying that, well, we all knew Blue Poppy, and you're a force to reckon with on the culinary map of Kolkata. Everybody who comes to Calcutta, even who are visiting, are always coming to your restaurant to eat your lovely Tibetan food. But not everybody knew your personal journey. Not everybody also knew the way you shared with me that you were actually raised by a single father. Of course, as you know, in Status
Yes,
Single, the community, you're a part of the community. It's a community for women. But Doma,
yes.
every day I'm getting requests from men, some of whom are very, very resilient, strong, wonderful single fathers saying, why don't you open up the community and make it a community of single people? So that is my ultimate vision, that someday I will feel safe about Indian men, enough to let my community gates open. But until then, let us open the gates to your life story. Take us back to your childhood, take us back to how you grew up, and tell us about life with a single father.
Well, I was born in the little town of Kalimpong, and
Mm,
well, I didn't have a very easy life, but
mm,
I had a good life. In the
mm.
sense, my father loved me and my siblings like we were his everything, and we never went to bed hungry. We never had it, we were happy with the little things. Like he made sure he took us to the movies every weekend. We had good
Right.
food to eat. He always cooked good food for us, and everything he did was for us was in the form of food. Like, when he wanted to say sorry, it was some special food we wanted to eat. He wanted to say thank you, it was by cooking something we wanted to eat. So, I have memories of my father's love for me. That's all I remember of my dad. And because my mom left us very early, left us early to marry someone else,
I
and
didn't have
my dad never remarried.
left us very
He
early. Left us
he
early
dec-
to.
he decided to stay single and bring me and my siblings up. And
Right.
I think he did a pretty good job at it. So, so that's how I grew up, and he never let us feel that we never had a mother, because
Mm,
he gave us, all the love we ever needed. So, uh,
mm,
when I hear children of today say that, oh, we are not happy because we are from a broken home. Well, I don't agree with that, because I think we mothers or fathers, single parents, can always give the love uh, of both parents to the children.
mm,
So
mm,
that's how I
mm.
grew up, in Kalimpong. I worked hard, of course. My father had a noodle factory, and since
Oh,
childhood, my father always taught me the dignity of labor. He said there is no shame in doing any work if you're not doing the wrong thing.
mm,
So even today, I still wait on the tables. I still pick up the dishes. If I see the dishes are still on the table, I still go pick it up. I
mm,
still go and take orders, because I see there's nothing wrong with that.
mm.
So, the dignity of labor is one thing that my father has installed in me. And then other
Right.
thing is, if you like to eat something, you learn to cook it. So that's
Yeah.
how I am. I'm, I'm a chef and restaurateur today, I think.
Right. I find this very interesting, Doma, because there are two things that I will bring up from what you said. When men lose a partner, when men become widowed, right, widowers,
Mm,
or when
mm,
they undergo a divorce, the most
mm.
common thing for men to do in this country is search for a wife, especially if they
Yes.
have young children. Of course,
Yes,
now
yes.
I think it's a very positive thing that divorced women are meeting divorced men are marrying single women, divorced men are
Hmm.
marrying widows, widowers are marrying single women. So there's a mix. But I've always found that when a man loses a female partner, a wife who's the mother of his children, it's quite
Hmm.
easy for men to find a replacement. And most of the men sometimes look for a second partner because they want somebody to be a mother figure for their kids, you know, and then maybe he
True.
has more children also. But in your case, I find it extremely interesting, this part of your story right at the beginning, that daddy never, I mean, he was on his own raising his children,
Yes. Yes.
you know. So, this, I think, yeah,
That's why I always consider, my dad my everything. Because he gave up his happiness for the betterment of his children. He thought probably
mm,
the woman wouldn't be good to his children. The stepmother story that we have been hearing all our
yes,
lives.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And how many siblings did you have, Doma? How many sisters and brothers do
I
you have?
I I I have a brother and a sister, both younger to me. I'm the eldest.
Okay, okay, okay. And you also mentioned something that, you know, your mother, in a sense, abandoned your father because she left, uh, a family and went to stay with another person, or she was in love with another man. Again, this is a
Yes.
stereotype, Doma, because, you know, we think women who have children, they are like goddesses, right? Because motherhood is so venerated, isn't it? So we think that,
Yes.
women can't ever leave her children. But I have heard and I've seen it in my own family, a woman just abandoning her children, newborn, one was a newborn, just going off with another man and never looking back, never coming back for her children. uh, I have to ask you this because I grew up without a father. And now, through my spiritual journey, we both share the same faith. I can see you have my guru's picture behind you, His Holiness Dalai Lama, who's I think, a father figure to both of us because we belong to the same faith. Um, did you grow up with an abandonment trauma? Did that haunt you, the absence of a mother?
You'll have to repeat that, Shamoy,
Yeah, did
please.
that haunt you? The absence of a mother. Did you grow up with that abandonment issues, because your mother
Never,
had left you on? Okay.
never, never, never. My father never let us feel that.
Hmm.
I never felt the absence of a mother in my life.
Okay. 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 So I would say hats off to uncle, or hats off to Meshamoshai, as they say in Calcutta. Hats off and salam to him, really. Tell us about your journey after growing up in Kalimpong, the sleepy little town of Kalimpong, growing up there, meeting the man who you would then settle down with and have your two daughters with. Tell us about that phase of your life and the time you were not a single woman, but a wife and a mother.
Well, I met my the father of my children in Calcutta
Hmm.
when I was waiting for my visa to go to Taiwan for my studies. So we met at the Oberoi's, the pink elephant days. Those are the happy pink elephant days at the Oberoi. So we met there, and then I had to leave for Taiwan. But I came back and got married to Siddharth, and within a year we had our first daughter Sachiko, and then after I wouldn't say we had a bad marriage. We were happy. I At least I thought we were happy, and then we had a second. I think most women would agree with me on that. We always think we are happy. We
I
are in
think
a
you're,
not we are happy. Most of us think that we are happily married.
yeah.
So I assumed we had a happy marriage because after my daughter was born, I had given up my job and I started the concept of home delivery. I cooked at home and delivered to the people in Salt Lake on my kinetic Honda because
Hmm.
I wanted to stay home and bring my child up. I did not
Hmm.
want my child to be brought up by maids. So I gave up my job and I started cooking at home and delivering food, delivering happiness, I would say, to
Hmm.
different houses in Salt Lake. And then after 8 years, am I audible?
Yeah.
Am I audible? Okay. So
Yes.
after 8 years, my second daughter Sonam was born, and during that time, my Siddharth was posted in Kashmir, and somehow reconnected with his previous girlfriend who was in the US.
Hmm.
So I sort of, we women have sixth sense, So
Yeah.
somehow
Yeah.
I felt it, and he came home for a day, and then I told him that, see, what's going on. I don't want to fight in front of the children, but I know there's something happening. So he told me that no, but I love her, and I want to get married to her. So I said, "Are you willing to just give this one more shot? Because I don't want my children, like because I came from a broken home. I did not want my children to, also grow up in a broken home. I wanted to be with the man I loved till the day I die. I always dreamt of all that. And I
Hmm.
said, "Can you give it one more shot?" And he said, "No." And then after that, I decided that I would just, you know. Uh,
Hmm.
I would just let it go. So then, initial days was, of course, a lot of bitterness and a lot of pain. But
Hmm.
I think God's been kind to me and given me enough strength. Then I, I sort of decided that there's no point keeping that grudge in my heart and that pain in my heart. And I thought that the best way I could, prove to the world was by doing good and becoming something or someone in the society. And that's how I started working very hard. I told myself, no self pity, no depression. You need to get out and start working because you need to bring food on the table, you know
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
after all after all, whatever you said and done, you have to eat, right? You have to bring up the children. So
Yeah.
then once I started my first restaurant, then I had no time to grieve, no time to feel sorry, no time to feel angry, because I was busy working. The
Hmm.
people loved the food I served, and I was always busy in the kitchen serving and doing all sorts of things. So I was really happy. So the years just went by, and I didn't realize when we had so many restaurants, when the children grew up, when I became Doma Di to the entire Kolkata, population, and
Yeah.
I'm lovingly called the Momo Queen, and it's like it's been a long journey, but a brilliant one, I must say. And in the course of the journey, I also learned to forgive
Hmm.
the pain that I have been through, and I'm quite happy. I'm very happy with myself and with everyone else.
Right. When you mentioned about abandonment, I'm seeing it like a pattern repeated. Like you said, you were from a broken home. So you
Hmm.
wish that, you would always have that fairy tale, rainbow colored, rose colored, Valentine's Day, that kind of a love
Yes.
story, you know. And I relate
Yes.
to it, Doma, because I grew up without a father, and my mother was a resilient young widow. And I always, when I was young, I always thought that, I want a big family and I want
Hmm.
children. I want a big house. I always somehow, I think the void in my life, there was no, I mean, my
Hmm.
mother was, she more than made up for my father, but there was,
Hmm.
a lot of anguish that I faced. But I always felt that, I want a big home. A lot of
Hmm.
women, Doma, they try to compensate a broken childhood, jumping into marriage and hanging on to that marriage for dear life. You know, even if the man is cheating, even if the man is abusive, even if the man is, not a provider, not a responsible equal
Hmm.
partner, women feel that
Hmm.
the children should not go through a broken marriage, because I have seen a broken home, I know. you know but it's so inspiring that you never thought like that. You said, okay, you're cheating on me, in a sense you are with someone else, you go. The question I want to ask you, Doma, is, nobody talks about being abandoned in India. It's a very taboo topic among women. When this happened, what about your financial security? And what about your children? In school, in society, in terms of your bank balance, how were things for you?
Bad.
Hmm.
I actually never realized that, I never actually put that word abandoned, but yeah, in a sense, I think you're right. It's sort of, I was left with two children and nothing except
Mm,
a house to live in. And but like I told you, I think hard work is the key to success and God's blessings, His
mm,
blessings. I somehow managed. Otherwise, I mean, it would have if it had been a person. I'm not saying I'm strong or I'm supernatural, superwoman or something, but I think a person who was maybe not as strong. Mentally like I am would have probably broken down, but I managed to get out of that self pity in the nick of time and managed. And
mm,
I mean, I thank my stars and everyone whoever's been helpful to me for that. But then, yeah, I was in a bad state. Yes, I was in a
mm.
bad state in every way.
Yeah, because because you were not working when this happened.
Yes,
You were not a restaurateur. You were not an
yes,
entrepreneur. You were not a
yes,
businessman, right? You were just see now. Home chef has become very fashionable, right?
yes,
And thanks to the lockdown, we have seen a huge wave of home chefs. But back in those
yes.
days, this was when 1990. When was this?
91, 90. When I started my home chef thing was 1991, 1991,
Yeah,
92.
yeah. So I think, at that time there was no concept of home chef. What is a
No,
home
no,
chef?
no.
Yeah, yeah.
I just
So
thought that that was my forte. And so,
yeah, yeah. No, it's very inspiring, Doma, because sometimes when I'm talking to women who
mhm,
have been left by their partners, and I will use the word abandoned because we need to mainstream this. A lot of times, they don't have any financial savings, they don't have any self confidence, they gave everything to the marriage, okay, and to motherhood. So they tell me, Shri, what will I do? I'm only a graduate, or I only know, I've been a housewife, so I just know how to cook, or I just know how to sew, that's it.
mhm,
Or I'm
mhm,
good with baking, or I'm good with, plants, like
mhm,
that.
mhm.
But you took what you knew and you made it into a business idea. How did that happen?
Well, like I told you, I was doing home delivery, and I sort of people loved the food I cooked. Thank God.
Hmm.
And then, then I, sort of got the first opportunity. A friend of mine who was in the government of Sikkim, he asked me if I wanted to run the canteen in Sikkim guest house.
Hmm.
So I thought probably it was just a canteen where the people from the rooms would come and eat and all that. But miracles happen, they say. We had a queue outside, in a few months' time, we had a queue of people from offices, colleges, schools close by, Xavier's, Bhawanipur, Loreto House, and all the banks that are, close by. So when I saw that people wanted the food, then I started employing people. Initially it was me cooking and one person helping me, and then slowly, um, word of mouth and more people, and then it just happened. I'm not a very business minded person because I've always done business from the heart, not with the
Hmm.
head. For me, if I didn't have to pay my bills, I would probably just like to feed everyone who comes to the restaurant for free. But then
Ah,
but then I have to buy my raw materials, pay my rents and stuff like that. So yeah, so it just happened. I think
yeah,
I just became an entrepreneur just like that. I didn't even know.
yeah.
I was just a happy cook.
Happy cook. Yeah, like your father. I think you got that from dad.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Now, when you opened your first restaurant, again, a lot of women tell me, Doma, that starting a business as a
Hmm.
single woman, it's not easy. you know if you are a rich man's daughter, if you are a businessman's daughter, if you have a
Hmm.
Goenka or a Khaitan or some Ambani, Adani, some big name like that attached to you, Reddy, a lot of daughters inherit their father's businesses. When a daughter is
Yes,
getting married in Marwadi families, it's like a business deal. We all know this in business families. But
yeah,
you didn't have a father who was a businessman or who was a big shot restaurateur, right? Tell us
yes.
about some of the roadblocks that you faced in your business. from first restaurant to second to tell us some of the problems that you faced as a lone woman, as a first generation entrepreneur, and how did you overcome those problems?
Well, let me think, because I've always been so busy in the kitchen. I've never really given all that a thought, because of course it's been, being a single, whether you call it, whether it's in the business or whether it's in office, you know how it is for a single woman. A
Yeah,
single woman is always considered available.
available. Yeah,
So, so until you prove them otherwise. So,
yeah.
yeah, I did have a few issues with a lot of people who probably thought that, oh, single hair maybe. But then, I think it's up to you how you handle things. And I don't think I did a bad job at that. Number one.
Mm.
Number two, when you have workers, especially these guys from Bihar who I have and all that, taking orders from a woman is a little difficult for them,
Yeah, yeah,
because they've never probably seen a strong woman, in their homes. They treat their mothers and their sisters like, so maybe that. But initially I did have problems with that, because they had a problem with, taking orders from me. But when they saw that this woman can kick ass as well as a man can, then they started getting scared and, respecting me. So that was another one, and then how vendors, they take you for granted, thinking you don't know anything. When these people come to repair stuff, and then they think, oh, woman hai, usko engineering ke bare mein kuch nahi pata. So, all that was difficult, but in time I learned. So these are the few little problems I had. Like I said, touch wood, I have been lucky.
mm.
Nothing,
Actually,
nothing, nothing.
yeah, no, you're very right, because I remember I interviewed a very well-known designer in Delhi who is single,
Mm,
and
mhm,
she's a powerhouse, single woman, single mother. She told
mhm,
me the same thing.
mhm,
She said, it was a business that she and her husband started. Then the husband went off, you know. She said for
mhm,
at least 2 years, the workers, whenever the time came for payment, they used to say that,
mhm,
Abhi to sahab nahi hai, so will you be able to pay our salary? So she
mhm,
said, finally, I had to learn how to tell them that, boss, Sahab was not paying your salary. My talent, my design brain, my hard work was paying your salary. Sahab was just the figurehead. He used to sit, he used to hand you money, but I was earning it, you know. So, Doma, don't you think that, women, why are we so underconfident about our business skills? Because, see, if you go to a fish market in Kolkata, you find women negotiating like bosses. Yay! 100 টাকা, okay, 50 টাকা কর. Have you seen that, right?
I have, I
গরিব.
have, I have.
Yeah, in fact, in Delhi, I remember I went to shop, and the first year I lived in Delhi, the shopkeeper is telling me, "Are you a Bengali?" So I said, "Yes." I said, "How do you know?" He said, "Nobody bargains the way a Bengali woman bargains." So I said, "That is a compliment, you know, because,
Hmm.
but, we do that all the time, right? We are negotiating, we are bringing down price, we are saying, hey, this is not good, you didn't do the dusting properly, we are scolding the house help. But,
Mhm.
when we are in a public sphere, we are very underconfident. We are not sure of ourselves. We underplay. We don't want to exert the same power that we exert every day as matriarchs,
Mhm.
in the outside world. Did you have that? Because you went from a small home chef to this expanding restaurateur, then this celebrity that you are now. Take us through some phases of your life, because it will inspire women.
Well, Sri, it just happened. Like I always say, I didn't plan, or I didn't think. My kids keep telling me, Mama, we have to grow international. We have to do this. We already a brand name. Our product is good, and but I've never planned as such. But I always, because like I told you, we started with Blue Poppy, and I thought it would be a canteen where I would be just, feeding a few people. And then with the, like like you say, if your product is good, it's going to, people are going to come. So that's how people started coming, and we couldn't just manage with one. We opened another, and you uh, yeah, we like just now when I told you, when you told me, oh, you are a celebrity or whatever, I told you no, 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 and all that, and
Yeah.
you stress the point that we don't, you know. I wish my daughter was hearing this. She always tells me I'm so full of myself, but thank you. So, so yeah, I think it's with time that your self confidence, you get that self confidence, and when you know that you're good at something, I think you're right. You should be proud of what you are and who you
Yeah.
are, and why would I not say that I cook well, and no, I mean, you know, I am confident of the food I serve on each plate. You know, I make sure it's perfect. So I think that's the thing, the confidence, but not overconfident. I am a chef. I cook every day of my life, but you know, I never serve food without tasting.
Mm.
So that when someone, if by chance someone says the taste is not good, I can say I tasted it. It's good for me, but you know, it's not easy to please everybody when it comes to food, because one man's cheese and another man's chalk.
Yeah.
So for me, it's perfect. For me, it's
Mm.
perfect. For you, maybe not. I'm sorry about it, you know. But
Mm.
yeah, confidence is the key. I think the confidence, and I think that comes with time, Shremoy. I don't think we are born with it, but it
Mm.
comes with time. With when you know that you are good at something, then slowly the confidence builds up. And
Mm.
initially, when I had to go on stage, I would
Mm.
shiver, you know. And now I'm okay. I am okay with my TV show whenever I go on TV, or you know, even that did that little role in Anjan Dutt's movie. So I was
Yeah.
quite confident. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, also I feel, women in business, it's very important for us to see women as business leaders, because this
Mm,
is what I'm saying. See, my mother, she is a tigress, okay? Nobody can take her for a ride at home. She'll know, hey, today you didn't do this. She'll scold why you charge me more. Like, when she's buying things, or if I buy something and come, she'd be like, you got cheated. I'm like, no, I didn't. She's, of course, if I had gone, I would have got it at this rate. But
mm,
the same mother, you put her, in a space, the same mother, the same sister, you put her in a space. I have got this, men have told me, because I curate events and thing, that wow, uh, Shimo, you're a hard negotiator. You're so aggressive. I am, also, I think I lived for 15 years in Delhi. So I am a very Delhi person in my psyche, and I mean that as a compliment to the city of Delhi. But, I can negotiate. I don't feel ashamed asking for money. I don't feel ashamed bargaining. I'm always looking out for myself, that boss, I work my ass off, I need pay. Because this is Doma, this is what we are trying to say also. Whether it's an actress, whether it's a chef, whether it's a writer, pay us well and pay us equally, because we have brains, we are putting in equal amount of hard work. But women, why I want you to tell us more of your life is, women who are starting businesses, they are very scared. You might be a good cook, but they'll be like, how can I ask for money? How can I bargain? What will he think of me? This perception, you know and when you're single, as it is, your stereotype, you're available, you're too ambitious, you're too outspoken, too many labels are fixed on you. So that's what I wanted to know more from you about the business side of your life, when you're
yeah.
negotiating with people.
Yeah, you're right. Because you know what? The other day, someone is doing a festival and asked me to do it. And I said, since I'm not in the city right now, I recommended two names to the hotel. So the girl was very happy and she told me, Domadi, they're asking me how much I should charge. So I told her the amount, amount she should charge per day. And she told me, Domadi, tumi kothai, ami kothai, this is such a huge amount. I told her that, don't ever undersell yourself.
That's what.
Because
Yeah.
if you know your stuff is good, then you make sure you charge for it.
Yeah.
We go out to eat at big hotels. How much do we pay?
Hmm.
So why would they pay us when our food is better sometimes? So
Hmm.
that's how, yeah, like don't undersell yourself, I think is the thing. And there's a, like if you don't, like I tell my boys, if you don't respect yourself, no one will respect you. So you have to
Hmm.
keep that, apna rob rakhna chahiye, like they
Ah,
say, you should know yourself,
yeah.
and then,
Yeah.
so, so that's it.
Yeah. Tell us about being, today we see a lot of women chefs. Okay. Today we see a
Yes,
lot of
yes,
women who are opening restaurants. But Doma, most of these women who are opening restaurants are wives of rich men or daughters of some
yes, true,
businessman. Hmm? You
true,
did it on your
true.
own. Tell us about surviving in essentially a patriarchal world of business as well. How did you do it?
I just did what I love doing. I cooked, I served with love. I gave reasonable, my prices are very reasonable even today. And I'm one of those, not only me, even my daughter. We are the kind of business people who feel scared to charge a little more, write a little more on the menu. Say, Mama, my daughter, I remember the last time we were making the menu for one of our restaurants, and she says, Mama, 350, should we charge so much? Then I said,
Mm,
and then she said, but Mama, the same thing people charge like 600, so we are that that kind of people, probably because I grew up in the hills. My thinking is still like, I could say I'm still a hilly billy, though I do
mm.
say I'm a bong at heart, and people
Yes,
say people say, Domadi, you are more Bengali than any of us. So probably
yes,
more than you, Shree, because you were in Delhi for a long time. Yeah.
exactly.
Like I won't say I made an extra effort to do well in the business. I would say my food did the talking, and
Mm,
and probably because of my motherly nature, I try to mother everybody. People liked coming and eating and talking to me, and it then things happened like that, and then I trained my children to be the same. So
mm.
probably that's how it happened. I didn't actually make any any effort otherwise than being naturally me, naturally mother hen. So
Yeah. Doma, one thing that is very interesting, and I want to ask you about that, is your daughter is also a very celebrated chef, and she's one of the young talents of Calcutta. You know, she's on the food and beverage scene. She's also very well known in her own right. Of course, she'll be your daughter, but in a country where women are also known by their fathers' names, daughter of, you know, I find
yes.
it amazing that your daughter will be known as Doma Wang's daughter. Which is
Yeah,
amazing. To me, I love it.
she she has a little problem with that at times. She's, no, Mama, no matter what I do, I will always be Doma Wong's daughter. I said, sorry, baby, you can't change that. You will be Doma Wong's daughter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
in that actually, because she was with me all her life, and her dad was not here, and so people would naturally say Doma Wong's daughter, and I'm proud of both my girls, and they've I wouldn't say I did a bad job at being a mother, as at being a mother. So yes, like you said, Sajiko Seth, I hope you're listening, you're Doma Wong's daughter.
Doma Wong's daughter. It's got a nice ring to it. That swag, which is awesome. I've got a message, Doma. There's a question that has come in from you. I'm just going to read that out, and I have to wear my glasses because I'm blind without them. Hi, Doma Di. I live in the United States. But every time I come to Kolkata, I drop in at Blue Poppy. Your food is like opium and religion to me. As I'm sitting here today, listening to you talk, tears are flowing down my eyes. Like you, I was abandoned by my husband of 18 years, with my boy who is blind and my younger daughter who was only 6. The reason he gave was that he was embarrassed of our child who was physically not normal. I have raised him in the US, where I did not have any relatives except a distant cousin. And like you, the only thing that I knew was cooking. I have used that. I trained myself in hotel management, and today I'm with one of the biggest five stars heading their kitchen. I would just like you to tell women who are single mothers, especially, how did you manage to run a business and raise two daughters? So many women are scared to convert their hobbies into professions because of the guilt factor that women and mothers go through. Did you put your daughters in a creche? Did you have your father to look after them? Were you hiring maids? How did you manage the financial burden of two growing children? Please tell the audience.
Wow. Can I? I'm like my tears just. I got a little emotional. Well, hats off to you. I'm proud of you, and I'm like I think you have had a bigger burden than me because uh, probably you said your child was
Blind,
is yeah,
blind.
so
Son is
that's even
blind.
difficult. That's
Mm.
that's that's even more difficult for you. Well, I would say that I didn't put the children in a creche. I didn't have the money to, but I did have um, a maid and a boy who has been living with me ever since I came to Kolkata when I got married. So he's like my brother, my son. So they helped me raise the two Sachiko and Sonam, both my girls. And initially, I didn't have any day offs. And when I left for work, they would be sleeping. When I came back, they would be sleeping, you know. So that really used to sort of make me feel, I wouldn't call it a guilt, but I would say I didn't want to miss out on their growing up years. I wanted to be
Mm,
a part of their memory. I didn't want them to think that my mother was never there.
mm,
So what I decided was, people say that was a very bad business move to keep restaurants closed on a Sunday. But then I
mm,
decided that I would close all my restaurants and takeaways on the last Sunday of the month, so that the children would not be in school on a Sunday. So if I closed the restaurants on a Monday or a Tuesday, then the children would be at school and I would be alone at home.
mm,
So I decided that I would close that on every month. The last Sunday would be just for my children, and we would eat out, we would go for a movie, we would do shopping, and we do all sorts of things, or just cook at home and chill. So that's how I actually sort of balanced my work and time for my children. That was that. And then the other question was about the finance. Um, initial days were really difficult. I tried my best. I would never I never took a taxi or whatever. I would travel by public conveyance, go to all the markets, bargain for the cheapest vegetables, and get the best products at the cheapest possible price, and drag all that into an auto and walk half the way and go to work. That's how I sort of worked on the finances. And uh, somehow, and then I had my younger sister Rinzing, who helped me. I had friends who helped me initially. They gave me a loan. I sort of mm, so that just helped me through. And uh, and with time, the business did well, and I could and after that, I didn't have to really worry about the finances. Initial, of course, was difficult. Like I said, it seems so easy when I'm talking about the struggles that I went through initially. But well, nothing comes easy, like they say. So
yeah.
no gain without pain. So
Mm.
I did go through that. And all's well that ends well. The end is
Yes.
still coming. Yes. So that's the thing.
One more
So yeah,
question
I
has come
yeah.
in. I'm just going to read it because these questions are so good, you know. She says that it's very true, Domadi, what you are saying about women being available. I work in an all male organization as a hardware engineer, and often I have found that after my divorce, I am looked upon as a woman who is in constant need of men, either a rich husband, what people think I'm looking for, or just a fuck buddy and somebody to satisfy my physical needs. You are a woman in who has in and then she gives a gap, who has lived a long and fruitful life. You mentioned the word available. Did you ever have any instances when you were harassed, and did you ever have to take a tough stand? And being such a hot attractive woman even now, how do you manage to keep your dignity intact? I'm asking because so often, out of loneliness and the search for companionship, and sometimes even a father for the children, women often on the rebound attract the wrong energy.
well, uh, I'm no goddess. I've also been through uh, a lot of times. I also thought that I should get married. The thought came to my mind, and a couple of times I almost thought I would, but then
Hmm.
sense prevailed, and I decided that I was better off alone. Like I tell my ex-husband, who's now a very good friend, even today, thank you, Siddharth, for leaving, or else I would still be at home cooking for your bosses, or probably, So,
Too good.
and he takes it in good spirit. I'm really, he may have caused me pain, but then I also try to remember the good things that he had done for me in my life. So, being a Buddhist, I believe that I shouldn't keep any grudge. So we are very good friends. In fact, we talk every day, and now he takes an active part in the children's lives and all. So, I think with age, people mellow and people realize, and I'm happy about that. Yes, I did have instances a lot, in fact, where people thought that, I would like to compromise on things by just going to bed with them and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But then, see, it's not about uh, if I wanted to, I definitely would. But if I didn't want to, and it was something that someone wanted out of me because they thought they could give, I would do it because they could give me something, some favor. Then you know what? Like she said, a tough stand. Yeah, you have to take a tough stand. And I always believe in saying things to people on the face. Like they say in Hindi, "Move fat."
Mufat.
So move. Yeah. So I tell them on the face, "Look, I'm not interested." And if I was in sort of actually attracted, maybe I would, but I'm not. So I think that's a good way. And yeah, the best way I think is to tell them on the face. And well, that's, I think, the toughest stand I took, because I didn't have to beat anyone up as yet,
All right. I'm going to
which
just
I'm
take.
quite capable of. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. One more question before I get back to the flow of the conversation. Hi, Domadi. I love your food, and I'm myself a young single woman. I must say, listening to Shree and you, I don't ever want to be with a man. Both of you look so empowered, so happy, and so footloose and fancy free. However, I was raised by a single mother, and like Shrimoy has often said, I too, like her, faced a lot of bullying in my school for not having a father. Since you are talking so openly about your life, if you can tell us a bit about your daughters, which is very inspiring to a young woman like me who's also on the threshold of opening her own cloud kitchen. How was it for your daughters, and what kind of childhood did they have? Because at that time, their father might not have been a part of their life. Were they bullied? Did they feel a sense of abandonment? And was it tough with you being away for such long hours at your workplace?
I wish my children were here with me to answer that question, but whatever I feel I know, I would definitely share. Initially, yes, I think both my children felt uh, abandoned, felt
Hmm.
sad, probably felt pity on themselves. Um, but I always told both my children that if I, as a daughter of a single father, could be strong, could not live in wallow in self-pity, you being my daughters, I would expect the same from you. And I
Hmm.
always told them, like my father did, that one has to be true to oneself. One has to have a skill. My father always told me that have to have a skill. You'll never die hungry. Whether it's cooking, whether whatever, doesn't matter what. But so that's what I told my children. And yeah, like now, finally, during the lockdown, once the children told me, in fact, both of them told me that they did go through a lot of emotional
Hmm.
problems and stuff like that. But then now, and then they had quite a few misgivings about me not giving them enough time.
Hmm.
But all's well, like I say, now they have understood that I had to go to work because mine was not about going to work for a passion. Like they say, I became a chef because of my passion for cooking. Well, I became a chef and a restaurateur because I had to bring food to the table. If I didn't go to work, the children would not have food to eat, neither would I. So I explained to them, and I think over time they have understood very well what. And then, yeah, they both love me, though elder one and I fight like cats and dogs. And this young lady wants to start a cloud kitchen. I wish her all the best. And whichever city you are, I would like her to connect with me. If I can help in any way, I'm always
Please.
there.
Yeah. Prakriti, if you're listening, you have messaged me privately on Facebook. Please get in touch with Didi. She's here. She's on Facebook and she's very active, very helpful. Or write to me. I will send the message to Didi, and you guys can hook up. We're reaching the end of our show, Doma, and I can't let you go without talking about your food. You've taken the food of your ancestors. You have taken the food of your beloved father. You have taken the food of the mountain people and you have brought it into the heart of a busy, crowded metropolitan city like Kolkata, which knows only two things or knew only two things apart from Bengali food, Chinese and biryani. And suddenly, boom, you happened, you know. And suddenly, when we were growing up, we heard about you and the momos and the thupka and so many other wonderful things. Like I said, I also do this show because it's about self worth, you know, taking pride in just the things that you were not making some fancy creme brulee or some kind of very Parisian food or European food or molecular gastronomy. The simple food of your home, of your people. you know what made what gave you that inspiration? And you have not diluted that. From that you have not become a multi cuisine. From that you have not become fusion. You are still you have specialized, and this is your food, this is your culture, this is who you are as people, and you've held on to that. In India at this point of time we are seeing so much of division. Ye nahi khao, beef nahi khao, ye hai wo hai. People are getting polarized because of political affiliations, so much of hatred in our hearts. I have always believed food can melt away all boundaries. Food is it is actually, if I think of Valentine's Day also, for me it's always been about good food, because I take my 11-year-old sister and we go on a date and we eat good food, and that makes us happy, you know. So tell us
True.
about the food of your people. Tell us about that.
Well, our food basically is very simple food. Like, nothing exotic. Well, people think it's exotic, but I feel it's not, because there's no great ingredients, there's no special technique as such. It's just about simple heart, soul touching heart, whatever, kind of food. Like when I went for my first show on Rannaghor, I remember Rachana telling me, not Rachana, sorry, Oporujita telling me, what is this? She said, কি করছো ডোমা ডোমা এ করছো ও করছো and এত ভালো খেতে, like, I don't even, like, I do the bhaja, then I remove some of the ingredients on the side of the pan, and then I put in the rest of the ingredients in the middle of it, stir fry it, and then mix it all together, and that's it. Nothing exotic. There's no technique whatsoever. It's just uh, about the flavor. It's about the flavor, bringing out the natural flavor of either the meat or the vegetable is what I do and what I have been taught by my father to do. So we didn't have exotic stuff like Haitian sauce and oyster
Ah,
sauce and all these black bean sauce and stuff like that. We had onions, garlic, tomato, ginger, garlic, and that's what we did. They played around with that, and with the fresh vegetables and with the fresh meat and poultry and eggs and stuff we had. So that's what I grew up eating, simple food like that. And the aludam, Nepali aludam that comes with a lot of chili. And, I remember in 1 rupee, you used to get so much of it, and how we used to eat it all the way walking to school. All those things are what I have tried to serve in the restaurant. And, I think it has worked with the people, because, as you know, again, I'm going to say, Amra Bangalira, we love eating, we love
oh,
eating. So I don't know about other men, but the way to a Bengali man's heart is definitely, and woman's heart is definitely the
and
stomach.
woman's heart. Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. So lucky for me, I have reached quite a few hearts. Like even now, the three ladies who wrote the questions to you all said that they have visited the restaurant and loved it. Uh, so yeah, it's about simple food, no exotic ingredients, no blasting and whatever terms they have. I have always done things, kept it simple, and thankfully now my daughter has. I have been very rigid. I've always been like, okay, this, that's it. And luckily, Sachiko has brought a fried rice which is very popular in our restaurants called the Popo's fried rice. So Popo in Tibetan means grandfather.
Oh,
So
so
my dad used to make this fried rice, which was just simple prawn and egg fried rice fried with
oh,
butter.
oh,
So,
wow.
prawn was very exotic for us back in Kalimpong, so very few people would buy it. But my dad would always make it a point to bring it from the local weekly hut on Saturday and
Hmm.
make us the fried rice. And my children, Sachiko has put it on the menu. It's Popo's fried rice. And there are other things like the cold noodles, which we used to have during the summer, which is from the Amdo region of Tibet. So my dad used to give us that during the summer. So that is also on the menu now. She's called it the cold noodles. So cold noodles with just a few, soya sauce, chili oil, and stuff. And how simple food like that can be so delicious. So
Hmm.
so that's it. Like Bengali food, a simple ghat with all the sabzis put
All the
together can be so good. You just put some pumpkin, some this, some that, and then there you are. So
yeah,
so that's
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. How is it working with your daughter? Because we've seen fathers and sons in businesses, right? We've seen son-in-laws and father-in-laws in businesses. How is it like for a mother and daughter to be in a business? Tell us about that professional relationship, the personal dynamics. How does it all flare up or simmer in the kitchen?
Flares up. We can't see eye to eye, believe me.
I can
Uh,
understand.
because we both come from different schools of thought. I am the typical, very laid back Bengali, where I'm like, হয়ে যাবে. And then
হয়ে যাবে।
she's that young, dynamic one who wants to move more ahead and say, Mama, you want to just stop at that? Mama? You have garnish it like that. I said, what garnish? It's just simple food. What to garnish? Just give it like that. And she's like, presentation matters, things like that. So if she's in the kitchen, I will not go to the kitchen. If I'm in the kitchen, she better not come to the kitchen. So, so just so that there is peace between us,
Harmony,
and
harmony.
we had enough of each other during the lockdown. Believe me, enough of each other. I would make the lunch and she would make the dinner, and we had a pact that you are not entering when I'm in. To either, both of us would have made that pact. I will make lunch, you will make dinner, and there you come into the kitchen when I'm there. So now, like, for the from this year, I decided that I will let her run the restaurants in Kolkata by herself. Of course, I am always there if ever she needs me. But for the time being, I thought I will concentrate on this restaurant which we have opened in Siliguri.
Hmm.
So we have a restaurant now in Siliguri in Planet Mall, and it's a small restaurant. But then you know what, Sri, I'm so happy to be back in the action, and I feel as if I'm 30 again, because I'm doing all the things I did when I first started Blue Poppy. I'm
Yeah.
going to the bazaar. I'm serving on tables. I'm cooking. I'm chopping. I'm mincing, along with a few boys of mine. I've not kept too many, so I'm very happy and feeling very young and able to still. And I'm feeling very proud of myself that at my age I'm still able to do what I did 20 years, almost 30 years ago.
And it's impolite to ask a woman's age. You must have heard that saying. Never ask a woman's age and a man's
And a
salary.
man's salary.
Yeah, but I'm going to smash the stereotype and ask you your age and how old your daughters are, because I think women need to own their biological age. I'm 43 and I get this all the time. Shri, why are you telling people you're 43? I'm like, but why not? No, no, but you don't
Well,
look
let
43.
let, let me let me give you a high five.
Yes, high five.
I I have I have always been proud of my age, because I just turned 54 on the 23rd of December. So I'm 54, and I'm proud of it. I've lived 54 glorious years, and I hope to live some more and cook some more, and feed a lot of people and win a lot of hearts. Am I frozen, or are you frozen, or what?